Messiah new flower this on the ends, representing the flames. Yo, the one after the honorable priest Isaac. Some boy if you know this. Hear me now. Antigua are the place where priest Isaac dwell. Ancient Israel, ancient story fit tell. Yes, yes. Up a Lalibela where the monk them a dwell. With them mescal them a broke evil spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. His foundations in the wall of mountain. Priest Isaac on the wall of mountain. Him black a reverence on the wall of mountain. Him chant a psalm on the wall of mountain. But never hesitate for yell the king. I take a Isaro Einin. So proud yes to be an offspring. Mystic vibration of the people them a sing. Angel, mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where him dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. Trot on the banks of the gully. Isaac trod it through the hills and the valley. Trod it through the town, through the bloody city. Highly, 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 always with we. Highly, 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 I protect we. Highly, 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 I would never leave we.
Subscribe to the Mystic Vibrations Shock of the Hour program today and never miss another episode. The Shock of the Hour is a Radio Anu exclusive program produced every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By now, I am sure that you are aware that all our programs are packed with information, inspiration, mystic vibrations, as well as hot button topics. Every evening we enter into a different dimension, even if it is a part 2 of the previous program, whether it's history or mystery, biology or philosophy, domestic affairs or the locks of your hair. The mystic vibration is sure to bring something new and interesting to the table every evening. So never miss another episode again. Subscribe to the Shock of the Hour now. And don't forget your key Swahili word of the day and your daily scientific fact. So, to subscribe, give us an email, priestisaac27@gmail.com, or call or WhatsApp us today. Area code 1268-728-3162. The Shock of the Hour. Never miss another program. And a special note to all our new subscribers. All our new subscribers will receive a special copy of the DVD documentary, full length, The Night of the Black Tiger, The Divinity of Marcus Messiah. Definitely give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Of course, you're definitely in tune to the mystic vibration once again. We're now into the shock of the hour. Of course, the shock of the hour is definitely a grievous thing. And what we'll be doing this evening, we'll be definitely touching upon the whole aspect of the 13th Amendment. And of course, this is obviously what would appear to be a bit of US history. But as you know where we are here, this is Honorable Priest Isaac speaking to you, of course, here in Antigua. And I'm sure many of you who definitely, of course, subscribers for sure, from time to time we give you some history of the Caribbean, history of Antigua, where we directly show you, things that I'm sure you've never heard before. To be honest, just today someone sent me a comment, and the comment was basically, why is it that we as Rastafari, they were saying they're Rast. In fact, they were saying that they are Rast from Haiti. And they were asking, why is it that Rastafari do not, teach about Haiti and all of these different things? And I'll be very honest with you. I waited for a while to see if anyone would comment or respond to his comment. But I saw no one really responded, so I said, okay, let me respond. Because obviously we have spoken about Haiti, we have livicated a whole program, not a whole program, what am I saying? Programs. For years we've been talking about Haiti, and you have elders like Muta Baruka. And I even told the brother straight, I said, my good brother, especially the fact that you are a Ras and you are from Haiti, maybe that is your calling. Maybe you are the one that should be speaking about Haiti, for sure. But what I am saying now is that, for example, those who may not be subscribers and those who may have missed the Mystic Vibration, do you know we have on the YouTube a program specifically entitled Black History That You've Never Heard About? And in that program, we primarily speak about, Prince Class and Mama Africa and all the Maroons and the rebels here in Wadadley in Antigua that, fought against plantocracy of the day. But if you listen to that video properly, you will hear us say at the end that there's a part 2 coming to this. And in the part 2, we will be showing you the link between Antigua and what was taking place in the United States of America as it relates to the Underground Railroad. And I'll be straight, I never saw no one make that link. Now, I've never put that video on the YouTube. I don't know, it may go up one day maybe, or I haven't turned it into a video. But the audio is there, showing you that even that same audio we did, the first part 1 and part 2, but in part 1, for those who watch that YouTube video, you would see that we went into Haiti to a great degree. Because the brother was asking, how is it that no Rasta talk about Desaline? And I was saying, well, obviously, it's an individual that have not, listened to everything that we have said. Which I don't have a problem with that, I'm not saying you should come to every event. I'm not saying you have to hear every word. I mean, I ain't got a problem. To be very honest, I would advise that you try your best to listen to all the different subject areas that we have covered. But when an individual could look at you and tell you, I just started to listen to you 3 weeks ago, and I've watched about 5 videos, even though they tell you that directly or indirectly, well, I don't think you're in a position to clearly say, why is it that no Ras has ever talked about such and such, when we have covered the subject several times. Desaline, man, anybody that knows me know that Desaline is at the top of the pack when it comes to the whole Haitian Revolution crew. From Bookman to what's the medicine man name there again? Macandal. Them is some real killers. We love Toussaint.
That's true.
Yeah, man, we love her show. We love him, but you don't know how it goes. We're not checking for people that go back and save the slave masters from the fire. You know, we love Dessalines. It's even known historically that Dessalines and Toussaint, sometimes when Toussaint was really the leader of the rebellion before Dessalines took over, there were certain tactics that General Dessalines would have used, and King Toussaint was not too pleased with it, and that's known history. You know, remember he actually went back, he went to France on an invitation to sit with them to work out some kind of agreement, and they put him in prison. That's Toussaint Louverture. You know, so as I said, it's not as if we want to, you know, place one above the other, but the reality is our enemy places one above the other. And because of the fact, well, I at least have realized that placing one of our heroes above the other hero, especially when the one you're putting on the top does not really live up to the standard straight up to those that are underneath him, we find that is a dangerous thing to do. So now what it is, we're giving Martin Luther King. You know, we're giving Toussaint Louverture. Nothing wrong with Toussaint Louverture. But unless you go and do your history, number one, you don't even know about no Dessalines. You definitely ain't gonna know about Bookman and Mackandal, man, unless you study. You'll even come up with these names. And these were the real murderers in that revolution. No disrespect, Toussaint was like a boy to these ones. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about Toussaint, don't get me wrong. You know, I love him, and I'm not saying he's, you know, I'm better than him, nothing. I'm no way. You know? But the enemy is very strategic. When out of all of our warriors, they put Nelson Mandela on the top. They know what they're doing, and they turn him into a Marvel comic, you know, character, a superhero then. You know? Martin Luther King, good boy. Not boy, pardon. Please forgive me. Well, the wicked would say that. Oh, that Martin Luther King, he's a good little boy. Yeah, well, they would say that, but no disrespect again, because the Martin Luther King that I come to love was the Martin Luther King in about the last 2 months of his life. The one that was telling you take your money out the bank and put it in your own credit union. The same one that was telling you to stop drink Coca-Cola and eat Wonder Bread and don't go fight for no war like Muhammad Ali. That's the Martin Luther King you don't hear too much about. You understand? You know? So they put him at the top, and they don't even put the full him. They put the him that they want you to know about. You know what that is. I have a dream. White boy and black girl, whatever it is, holding hands. I have a dream. That's the Martin Luther King you know about. But any other, you know, you don't even hear about no Nat Turner. Elijah Muhammad that was moving the crowd at that time. Not even him you hear too much about. Why he's worthy of no praise? I'm telling you. Wow. Malcolm X.
Not even Winnie Mandela.
Oh well, Winnie Man, there you go on the next level altogether now. You know, the one that so-called held down the fort, where her husband was in prison, you know. So I'm just saying, it may look to some as if we're putting down our leaders or our elders. I would never do that. I'm not saying nobody was perfect. I would be mad to discredit Toussaint Louverture. Let's assume he filled his gap and he filled it well. The general. So don't look at him, to be very honest, with no disrespect. You know, I'm not even comparing him to Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a terror before he went to prison. But we don't know the after effects and what happened after the 27 years. You know. So with all respect again, there were those who were fighting Winnie Mandela, as you said, Madikizela. Trust me, if it's honors you want to give somebody, well, that's who you should have given it to. Make her a hero. Put her in your school books. Make positive movies and documentaries about her. What is so wrong with what she did? She saved our lives. But no, they're not going to do that. was it previous night, 2 nights ago, we were talking about the situation with the white farmers in South Africa, you know, and I point out that movie Zulu again. Ones have contacted me and told me that they watched it and wow, yeah, my youth, we've never watched it together, but for sure we've definitely got to. What I'm going to be presenting to you now is this is something taken from a sister that has a page entitled The Great Griot, or The Great Griot. And I think that it's necessary for me to highlight her channel. I think personally her information is definitely up to standard, I would say. Very entertaining, up to standard, and really precise. You know, it's definitely non-religious. It's none of them things. It's just basic history. And as she herself said, she started her channel to definitely deal with children. And I think in the way that she has put her video presentations together, very short, not very short, but not long for sure, between 10 and 15 minutes, and yet still fast moving, you know, colorful, get the eye of the children. And I would actually recommend and encourage anyone to check her channel, you know, and observe the works that she's been doing as it relates to history. She more seems to rest on African American history, as you would call it, or American history, whatever you want to put it as. I guess, and as I said, everybody got to just stay in the lane. So that's the lane, and she's doing a good job at that, you know. So I want to present one of her presentations here. Did the 13th Amendment really end slavery? And why I had that long introduction was to show all of us that no history is separate from any history. Sometimes we do say black history. That is because we're trying to emphasize the point that our rightful place has been taken out of history. But the best history, it may sound strange, you know, the best history is not black history. The best history is history, with everybody in it. Let me know how the whole thing goes. Give me the full scope of the story. So that's why we study ourselves first. And then don't be afraid to go study others. See what their history saying too. Understand their history, where they really come from, even before they came upon you. And then you have a good scope of behavior and psychology and social adaptation, and all of these things become key. So yeah, we're going to listen to the Great Griot, as she refers to herself as, and we're going to be talking about the 13th Amendment. For those who do not know, it was in the Constitution of the United States of America. So an amendment means something that is amended, meaning that it's not an original law. The original law was there, and the killer said, listen, there's something about this we want to change, so they amend it. And the 13th Amendment now is really what is supposedly accepted as the amendment that ended slavery in the United States of America, which happened in 1863. You know that 30 years prior to that, so-called slavery ended in the Caribbean in 1834 on the 1st of August, which will just be a few days from now. You know, on the 1st of August, 1834, slavery supposedly came to an end in the Caribbean. When? The 1st of August, 1834. And so at that time, the United States still had slaves, you know, as such. Prisoners of war. I mean, look, you know how I feel about this thing. If we were slaves then, we rather were slaves now. And you're going to see why as we go into this. So it's really connected. It's one thing. Don't lose it. It's not their history and our history. It's all of our history. We all came on different ships from different places in the same land, the continent of Africa. Let us go forward. Listen up.
13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, ratified on December 6, 1865, is the document that set black people free. It set us on a course of liberation, took the chains off of us, Supposedly. Have you ever read the 13th Amendment? No. Have you really read the 13th Amendment? Shall we? Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States, or any place subject to their jurisdiction. The 13th Amendment never made slavery unconstitutional. It merely set conditions on how slavery, coupled with peonage, could remain constitutional. After the Civil War in America, the South was left in shambles. The war strategies of the North did exactly what it was designed to do: destabilize the Southern economic infrastructure and disrupt the normal social structure of whites being in direct control of black enslaved labor. So enters a system whereby persons under the jurisdiction of a state can be brought to slave status using a loophole in the 13th Amendment via criminalization.
Yes, I knew flower is on the ends, representing the flames. Yo, the one after the Honorable Priest Isaac. Some boy if you know this. Hear me now. Antigua are the place where Priest Isaac dwell. Ancient Israel, ancient story fit tell. Yes, yes, up a lalibela where the monk them a dwell. With them mescal, them a broke evil spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. His foundations in the whole mountain. Priest Isaac on the whole mountain. Him black a reverence on the whole mountain. Him chant a psalm on the whole mountain. But never hesitate for yell the king. I Tega, I Zaro, I Nin. So proud yes to be an offspring. Mystic vibration of the people them a sing. Angel, mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where him dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them now go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. Trod on the banks of the gully. Isaac trod it through the hills and the valley. Trod it through the town, through the bloody city. Highly, 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 always with we. Highly, 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 I'll protect we. Highly, 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 I would never leave we.
Subscribe to the Mystic Vibrations Shock of the Hour program today. And never miss another episode. The Shock of the Hour is a Radio Anu exclusive program produced every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By now, I am sure that you are aware that all our programs are packed with information, inspiration, mystic vibrations, as well as hot button topics. Every evening, we enter into a different dimension. Even if it is a part 2 of the previous program, whether it's history or mystery, biology or philosophy, domestic affairs or the locks of your hair, The mystic vibration is sure to bring something new and interesting to the table every evening. So never miss another episode again. Subscribe to the Shock of the Hour now. And don't forget your key Swahili word of the day and your daily scientific fact. So, to subscribe, give us an email, priestisaac27@gmail.com, or call or WhatsApp us today. Area code 1268-728-3162. The Shock of the Hour. Never miss another program. And a special note to all our new subscribers. All our new subscribers will receive a special copy of the DVD documentary, full length, The Night of the Black Tiger, The Divinity of Marcus Messiah God.
Basically, if you are convicted of a crime, your punishment can be slavery. Oh, but not just that good old-fashioned American chattel slavery. Out with the old, in with the new. This was slavery with a twist. Slavery rental. Convict leasing.
Mr. President, I have a brother about 14 years old. A man hired him from me and I heard of him no more. He went and sold him to McGree and they's been working him in prison for 12 months. I asked him to let me have him, but he won't let him go.
You can't name where I ain't been down.
Under slavery, most black crime was punished by slaveholders, leaving the courts to discipline whites. Now, only about 10% of those arrested were white.
Now, what does this mean? Does this mean that white people are not committing crimes in the South? We know that's not true.
Southern states had a history of placing prisoners with industries that would bear the cost of guarding and housing them in exchange for their labor. Now, states also began to charge fees, renting prisoners to companies by the month. The highest rates were for the strongest workers and longest sentences.
This means that states had incentives to arrest and convict as many black males and females as they could round up, sentencing them to be slaves for private companies, plantations, and directly for the state.
It took time for the state to realize that prisoners, believe it or not, could be a source of profit. Once that revenue starts coming in, they're pleasantly surprised. This is new revenue we never had before.
The state of Alabama earned $14,000 in its first year of convict leasing, 1874. By 1890, revenue was $164,000, roughly $4.1 million today.
And if you thought that pre-13th Amendment slavery was bad, convict leasing was worse.
All these years of how we suffered, we have looked death in the face, worked hungry, thirsty, half-clothed, and sore. We would leave the cells around 3 o'clock a.m. and return at 8 o'clock p.m., going the distance of 3 miles through rain or snow.
To describe the conditions in a coal mine at this time, I used to say that they're primitive, is you can't even imagine it.
This is a place where, for weeks or months at a time, men might never see daylight. The mine was often filled with standing water around their ankles and their feet. They had to drink from that water. Disease ran rampant through these mines.
They were incredibly dangerous places to work, being subjected to violent explosions, poisonous gases that were released as coal fell from the walls. In addition to the falling coal itself,
Whippings, keeping people chained up, brutal kinds of physical torture, and mental abuse are the norm. A lot of the things that kept people in control under slavery are amplified under this convict system.
Someone working these kinds of forced laborers would push them to the very limits of human endurance.
Because the white leasee was not held responsible for the killing of a laboring prisoner. But even more important than knowing the history of convict leasing is understanding the tactics used to create the continuation of slavery.
Okay, let me hold on there before we go any further. Convict leasing, exactly 28 minutes now, moving up until the 8 o'clock mystic vibration. You are into the shock of the hour. So, as the Sister Griot is saying there, Sister Griot, the great Griot, according to the... So now, what that little excerpt came from the movie, is a documentary. What's the name of the documentary, Princess?
Slavery in Any Name.
Slavery in Any Name, right. So
Slavery in Another Name.
Slavery in Another Name. So that's a full-length documentary. What you heard, all of these different voices, comes from a full-length documentary, Slavery by any other name? Another name?
Slavery in Another Name.
Slavery in Another Name. So, of course, you could check that for yourself. But basically now, what we have here, so slavery, we haven't gone even to the depths of the 13th Amendment yet. So slavery has come to an end, basically. But yet still, according to the 13th Amendment, once you commit a crime, once you become a criminal, according to the law of this nation here, we are going to put you back into slavery. And this is really what you would say the beginning of the penal system, which is really the one level of the slavery environment that we live in still, not in no US of it, but on this planet. I know a lot of ones disagree. There are even those, listen to me, a lot of our brothers and sisters would totally disagree with what I'm saying. All they will tell you, oh man, if you break the law, you must go to jail. Not understanding, I mean, obviously, there is action and reaction. Obviously, there's what we call karma. Obviously, there's justice as well. We ain't have no problem with that. But what we call the penal system and prison system that's all over the world, I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with justice and right and wrong. Not even karma as such, really. But definitely right and wrong and justice and wrong in the right and all of that, or right in the wrong, however they use these phrases. This prison system is a capitalization and money making, big business. You know that. The prison system itself, especially these big prison complexes you have all over the world. It's almost like an airline company. When you go to the airport, you see some of the trucks on the runway, food trucks, where they prepare the meal for the long flight. These food trucks have a contract with the airline. So that's why when the airline break the contract with a food company, it's like the world coming to an end. They may have other contracts, but they lost a big contract with this airline or that airline. It's the same thing with these prisons. Food companies have contract with them. Soap companies, people that make detergent, these overalls and coveralls and clothes and shoes that these prisoners wear. In many, many places on the planet, they have big corporations that literally have the contract, and they were given the contract by their friend or their cousin or their brother, who is the person that even manages or built the prison. These are rich tycoons getting rich off of the enslavement of people. But we're going to show now where black people come into this and how it is the continuation of slavery in one form, because the continuation is in many, many forms. In fact, as I always say, slavery did not end in 1834 or 1863. It merely began. Before that, we were prisoners of war, fighting our best to get out of this situation, all of us, fighting our best to get out of this place, all of us. But now we've been displaced for so long, and generations have come and generations have gone. So the generation that was released from shackles and chains, speaking of my great-grandparents, they were so happy to be free. That's why now we evolve into the age of good times. Yeah, real bad times, all of that is a result of the history that we have gone through in the Caribbean, in Brazil, in the United States of America, in Canada. So once you were a criminal, you're going back into slavery. That's in the 13th Amendment. Man, you're in for a surprise tonight.
Here's a short list of what was made criminal for persons of color under the statutes in the great state of South Carolina.
Listen.
A colored man leaving his wife.
What?
A colored woman leaving her husband. A person of color pursuing or practicing the trade of artisan, mechanic, or shopkeeper, or any other trade or business.
No, this is the US, you know, you're free. But I mean, well, first of all, I mean, when they say color, they're talking about me and you. You shouldn't really leave your wife, and the wife shouldn't really leave the husband. But now, if you're practicing the trade of an artisan, a mechanic, a shopkeeper, in other words, you could not have a trade, as they call it. Don't try to be no plumber here. Don't try to be no brick mason. If you try that, you're a criminal. So what am I supposed to do? You can't own no business. You are a criminal, you know. And just trying that would send you back into slavery after 1863, when good old Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation to set us colored people free.
For his own benefit. A person of color doing business on equal terms with a white person. A person of color working for a white person and deemed by the white employer to not have enough skills and experience for the position. A black person being unemployed.
So if you're working for a white fella now, and he just says that you don't have the skill for this job, that's a criminal act, and you can be sent back into slavery. A black person.
The statute reads that.
Okay, hold on. A black person unemployed. Wow. Many criminals moving around in that time for sure.
Vagrancy and idleness are public grievances and must be punished as crimes. Please note that South Carolina was not the only state with black codes. In the southern states in general, things such as spitting, drinking alcohol in public, being drunk in public, loitering, could result in the African Americans being enslaved for.
It's not a joke. In fact, I don't think she mentions this, but that's where the phrase, boy, you're a barrel of laughs, comes from. That's why sometimes we got to check some of these phrases that we use. A barrel of laughs. You know what that means? In that time in the good old US of A, you could not be seen laughing, or else they would pick you up and send you back into slavery. So that's why if somebody give you a good joke, say you're listening to some Sanford and Son or Eddie Murphy or something, and you want to laugh, you had to run and stick your head in a barrel. And then, oh boy, whew, that's funny. You better carry that barrel with you if you are accustomed to laugh. Because if they saw you laughing, they would lock you away, put you in chains, and have you building railways and all of these things for nothing, once again back in slavery. So you could imagine with all of these rules, you can't have a fallout with your madam or vice versa. Something about that is good. I like that's against the law, but outside of that, still, I don't want to get into that. It's a long story. But all of these different rules there that have been put in there, so you can't practice no trade. You cannot be no carpenter, no brick mason. You can't even own your own shop. If you work for a Caucasian man and he decides that you are not equipped with the skill to do this work, they can just come and lock you up like that. You can't laugh in public. So you could imagine the amount of colored people that had to go back into slavery. But listen to this. Listen. That was just a long time ago. It's different today. That's my point. Because many people will say, oh man, brother, let's get over it. You can't, somebody beating you. And then somebody come and say, oh, come on, don't worry, let's get over it. While they're still beating you. It's not as if they stopped beating you. They're still beating you. And you telling me, oh, you just get over it. Don't worry, the pain will stop. I don't know about the pain will stop until they stop beating me. Before you help me and start to fight him off, you come and telling me, oh, come on, don't worry about it. You complain too much.
Vagrancy. Instead of black labor going to the rebuilding of our civilization, it was recaptured by way of new laws and policies and used to undergird the growth of their economy. With the help of their judicial system, all of these states were direct practitioners and beneficiaries of this new slave system. And the northern states were not innocent in this affair. Not only did they have black inmates laboring as slaves, but the North's financial institutions backed the enslaving industrialists and plantations in the South. In essence, convict leasing, along with peonage or debt slavery, served as the post-13th Amendment guide for enslaving African Americans. And this remained the case with the quiet complicity of the federal government until after December 12, 1941, when Circular 3591 was issued. Circular 3591 was a document issued under the order of President Franklin D. Roosevelt to give the okay to start prosecuting cases of involuntary servitude of black people in America. But you always have to ask the question, why? Why, after almost 80 years of turning a blind eye, was the federal government all of a sudden so eager to serve justice for black folks? I'll tell you this, it was not out of the warm humanity spot in their heart that they shared with the black population to end slavery. It was once again a war tactic, a strategy, pure optical illusion, because having slavery practiced on the blacks in the U.S. was a bad image for the propaganda that was needed by the U.S. when entering World War II. The same way that some people live in clutter, but they dust off real quick and shove stuff in the closet before everybody comes over. Yeah. See, we really are democratic. Let's not forget, they also needed blacks to join the military.
My prepared text today was to have been, make thy name be remembered in all generations. But I think I'm going to depart from my prepared sermon.
Negro preacher.
While I was listening to the sergeant's solo, I kept looking up at our service flag. I was thinking of the men in service.
Sergeant Solo, he said.
And if you figure that you were safe because Circular 3591 was written in 1941 and that is in the past, According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, over 1/3 of sentenced prisoners under the state and federal jurisdiction are black. Not black and Hispanic. Just blacks comprise over 1/3 of the prison populations here in America.
Now, 1/3, to be honest, I don't know if her stats are totally correct. If it's correct, it may sound strange, but that sounds like an improvement. The last time I checked, it was 51% of the inmates in prison were black, and 90-something% of those blacks in prison were male. So just a few percent, not just, I shouldn't say just, but a few, like 2 or 3% were female the last time I checked. But I think that stats was, as she just said, not blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans. Give thanks for clarifying that, sister. She just made it, we're talking about African people here in the United States of Turtle Island. That's what she's talking about, straight up. So when you take the Hispanics and the people from Puerto Rico and the Mexicans out of the equation, you get 1/3, which is, what are you talking about? We ain't 1/3 of America, about 12 or 13%, but yet 1/3 of us, Ebonites people, are in the prison of the red, white, and blue.
America. Yet, we only make up 1/6 of the general population. The NAACP reported in 2009 that around 14 million whites reported using illegal drugs, compared to 2.6 million African Americans. Yet, despite this 5-to-1 ratio of white self-reported users to black counterparts, police jail 10 times more African Americans than white drug offenders.
So you have 14 million to 2.9 million or 2.5 million. 14 million white people use illegal drugs that year or got caught or whatever and are reported with. And 2.9 million as it relates to black people. But yet still the arrest of black people for use of illegal drugs was 10 times more than Caucasian. Land of the free and the home of the brave, brother.
And 59% of those in state prisons for drug offenses, showing clear bias in the arrest process and the incarceration process. African Americans were reported to serve as much time in prison for drug-related non-violent offenses as whites for violent offenses. And yes, if you have loved ones locked away in jail cells today, chances are you are still making your favorite industrialist rich. Filthy rich. Here are just a few companies who have been reported to utilize prison labor manufactured goods.
You have Whole Foods Market, Sprint, JCPenney, American Airlines, Boeing, Microjet.
Services, or who have otherwise profited from their financial involvement in the prison industrial complex. The 13th Amendment did not make slavery unconstitutional. It merely created an optical illusion. But let's get it straight. It did not create an optical illusion for this European government that created the system to run exactly as it does. It did not create an optical illusion in those who carry out the disenfranchisement. Judges, police, prosecutors. And it did not create an optical illusion in the many companies who benefit directly and indirectly from this enslavement. Who it did create an optical illusion for is the millions of us who feel like slavery and racism is a thing of the past, while yet having more enslaved today than we did at the peak of chattel slavery. But we are just scratching the surface on removing our optical illusions, starting today with the 13th Amendment.
Now, my brothers and sisters, this is something, why it is so key that we must continue to highlight these subject areas, is because the vast majority of our people are not aware of this. You're playing with people's lives. And I don't know if, one of the main things here is that most of our people, we are not aware of the fact that we are in a war. I don't like to call things upon me, but there are a lot of things you don't want to speak about. But it's not calling it on you. It's done on you already. We are in a war. You're going to tell me you're 1/6 of a society. 1/6 of the society. And yet still you are 1/3 of the people that are in prison. Wherein 14 million of the rest of the society was using drugs, as they call it, or have some sort of connection, whether using it, selling it, smuggling it, whatever, peddling it, and 2.9 or 2.5 million of you were doing the same thing, yet still they arrest 10 more or 10 times more of you, the black people, than those, than the 14 million that they caught using it at the same time. I mean, it's just mad, it's wacky, it's crazy, but obviously it's directly linked to what happened in 1863 with the freeing up of the Negroes, with the Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln. You understand? So, I mean, this is so serious, my brothers and sisters. It's very key that we continue to really highlight, especially for those that do not know. I would say for the ignorant that do not have an understanding of exactly what it means when I say this is a war. And again, this, what she's saying here, comes directly from the proclamation that supposedly emancipated the Negroes in the USA.
Under colonial education, black children have learned for many years that they should have admiration for the 16th president of the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator, the great humanitarian, because he freed blacks in America. The question is, did Abraham Lincoln really free our ancestors? Was he truly interested in their human rights when writing the Emancipation Proclamation?
On the first day of January, in the year of our Lord, 1863, all persons held as slaves
listen.
within any state or designated part of a state,
Good old Abe.
the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States,
That's our president.
shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free.
One cannot talk about the Emancipation Proclamation without first talking about the event that produced it, the Civil War. It must be understood that the leaders of this cotton slave system dominated the South. Well, the entire nation, really. The White House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the armed forces, and they made the foreign and domestic policies to keep it all in place. The Northerners founded a party, the Republican Party. This wealth system of the North was more industrial. They won the election, now taking control, and that sought to dominate and control the expansion of white power into the West. Because basically, whoever could control this new expansion could control the Union. How could the North, that required their wealth a little differently, how could they accomplish that? Easily. By setting a policy to control whether or not these new territories could have slaves. No slaves would ensure the Union's domination. Allowing slaves could ensure the Confederacy domination. But both sides, the North and the South, brought up constitutional arguments concerning their rights to slavery. But beyond the jargon was two different wealth systems fighting for domination. A family feud. So to say that this war was anything about slavery, as in morally they cared, again, it was two sides fighting for domination, which led to no other solution than to have an armed battle to the death.
Well, I think by now we have a good comprehension of all of that. What do you think, Honorable Prince and Princess? Yeah, I think for sure. I think, as I said earlier, you cannot really separate history in general.
Well, it is good history to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually how we lived in our old days, or how our ancestors lived in our old days.
Yes, definitely, and it's something that we definitely have to, be thankful for when we understand for sure that we as a people, we have come thus far, to keep up such a standard, even as that in this time. But whatever the case is, we do give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. As I said, this is the shock of the hour, the mystic vibration. Give thanks for your presence with us, all those who have definitely, stayed with us for such a time, And as we always say, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history,
the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery.
And it takes some real eyes to realize.
The real eyes that are amongst us.
Okay, give thanks. And so definitely, of course, the mystic vibration will definitely be in your realms again on Monday, from 6 p.m. until, and of course the shock of the hour, definitely a grievous thing, and showing you exactly how everything is running. So definitely give thanks again for your presence with us, and subscribe to the Mystic Vibrations Shock of the Hour program today, and never miss another episode. The Shock of the Hour is a Radio Anu exclusive program, produced every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By now, I am sure that you are aware that all our programs are packed with information, inspiration, mystic vibrations, as well as hot button topics. Every evening we enter into a different dimension, even if it is a part 2 of the previous program, whether it's history or mystery, biology or philosophy, domestic affairs or the locks of your hair. The mystic vibration is sure to bring something new and interesting to the table every evening. So never miss another episode again. Subscribe to the Shock of the Hour now. And don't forget your key Swahili word of the day and your daily scientific fact. So, to subscribe, give us an email, priestisaac27@gmail.com, or call or WhatsApp us today. Area code 1268-728-3162. The Shock of the Hour. Never miss another program. And a special note to all our new subscribers. All our new subscribers will receive a special copy of the DVD documentary, full length, The Night of the Black Tiger, The Divinity of Marcus Messiah.
Yes, I knew flower is on the ends, representing the flames. Yo, the one after the Honorable Priest Isaac. Some boy if you know this. Hear me now. Antigua are the place where Priest Isaac dwell. Ancient Israel, ancient story fit tell. Yes, yes. Up a Lalibela where the monk them a dwell. With them mescal them a broke evil spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them nah go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, he's my angel. His foundations in the whole of mountain. Priest Isaac on the whole of mountain. Him block a reverence on the whole of mountain. Him chant a psalm on the whole of mountain. But never hesitate for yell the king. I Tega, I Zaro, Einen. So proud, yes, to be an offspring. Mystic vibration of the people, them a sing. Angel, mystic vibration is an angel. And them now go rebel. In a Zion where him dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, him an angel. Priest Isaac is an angel. Mystic vibration is an angel. And them now go rebel. In a Zion where we dwell. When we broke for them spell. Priest Isaac is an angel. Yes, him an angel. Trot on the banks of the gully. Isaac trod it through the hills and the valley. Trod it through the town, through the bloody city. Highly, 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 always with we. Highly, 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 I protect we. Highly, 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 I would